Hello fellow gamers, welcome to Azreality Gaming. My name is Dustin, and today we're going to be taking a look at my PlayStation 1 collection, mostly RPGs, probably about 95%. So let's get into see what we've got. Alrighty, so first time I've ever done one of these kind of videos where I share my collection. To me it seems a little bit like I'm showing off, but I know a lot of people out there that are really genuinely curious in seeing what I've collected over the years and any updates that I have to my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. Hopefully you'll like it. If you do, make sure to like it, to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these kind of content, maybe subscribe and post in the comments below. And let's start off with our first game. Our first game is going to be Valkyrie Profile. Valkyrie Profile was a game that I acquired about 2017 actually at a Seattle Retro Gaming Convention that was here in town. We've actually got the, for those that maybe were there, the actual little lanyard for that period of time. I ended up buying several games for the PlayStation 1 during that particular convention. But anyways, Valkyrie 1, based on the Norse mythology. Before the making of this video, I had yet to even plug it in and try to play it yet, to be honest. It is one of the more expensive titles that are out there for the PlayStation 1 for RPGs. But after playing it for about an hour and a half or so, I really liked it actually. It seems fun. The combat-based system into it is pretty intuitive. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of almost turn-based in that sense. With you click commands with the triangle or the X or whatever it is that you want to click for whichever attack that you want to do. And this game seems a lot of fun. So I don't remember exactly what I ended up paying for this game. I think it was definitely over $100 because this was back in 2017 before the huge spike increase in prices. But it was still expensive back then. Game I'm looking forward to playing, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, next up then, beyond that, I've got both the Tales of Destiny. I've got Tales of Destiny 1, which is, again, another great RPG that was very expensive. Also picked up during the 2017 Seattle Convention. For that, I think I paid closer to about $150 for both of these, the Tales of Destiny 2 as well. I've started playing Destiny 1. It's a stranger game. It's a little bit different, kind of action-based combat. Reminds me of like the Adventures of Link and things like that. With a little bit of an RPG element to it. But the graphics and the gameplay on part 2 seems a lot better, so I might end up just skipping that one for now and just trying to give 2 a chance. But we'll see. Both these games are real expensive nowadays, and I think I picked them up for about $150 each, about 2017. So anyways, next up, a couple newer additions to my collection. I've got Suikoden 2, which is a game that, it's definitely always been on the top of people's list for collecting. A lot more expensive. I did pick this one up, and another game called Diablo 1, of course, in a recent video that I did. If you want to see that pickup video, you can check out the link I put up below there, or up above there. So Suikoden, right? This is the game, right? This is like everybody says, like this is the Earthbound, right, so to speak, for PlayStation 1. Quintessential, gotta have it. I have not played it yet, so it's on my list. A lot of these games, I would say I'm about 50% of them I've probably played. About another 50% I probably haven't played, with about 30% of them I've actually completed all the way through from beginning to end. So they've got a large library that I can still play, which is great. So we'll get into those. Next one then, of course, I said Diablo 1. This is a game that spiked in value quite recently as well. I think with the whole hype of getting Diablo 4 and the Diablo 2 Classic. So these are starting to kind of create this nostalgic sense for, I think, for the older Diablo games. But it's a great game, unless it takes up a ton of memory card slots, by the way. So if you even try to start it up and save the first game, I think it's like, I don't know, it's over 10. It's a lot. So make sure you've got an empty card if you're going to be playing that one. So anyways, expensive, but worth it. And I have a lot of good memories with Diablo 1, actually, when I was playing on the PC. I never got a chance to play it on PlayStation 1 because, well, PC was just better at the time, obviously. But it was a game that just really influenced action RPGs for me. The whole like sound, the sound effects to it, to the music. It's just a quintessential game that still brings back the warm and fuzzies to me. Okay, next up we've got a couple tactical games. One of them is called Cardia. It's a really strange game. It's not very common. You don't see it in a lot of people's collections, actually. It's not super expensive, but it is kind of a turn-based RPG tactical style game where you use cards to be able to summon different magical effects. I gave it a try before the filming of this video, and at first I thought I would like it, and then once I got into it a little bit, I don't know, I'm not in the mood to be playing any tactical games right now, so I'm going to put it on the back burners. But if you do like tactical games, this might be a good one for you. Speaking of tactical games, there are of course a couple others on the PlayStation 1 that are classic. One of them being Ogre Battle Tactics. Definitely a harder game, tactical game than what it's built for. If you played Final Fantasy Tactics, you'll know that the game was pretty straightforward, pretty easy to play with not a lot of extra manuals or whatever needed to be able to figure out the game. But Ogre Battle Tactics, man, there are a lot of secret stuff you can do in this game, and if you don't have the internet back in the day to be able to figure it out, you wouldn't know what the heck you're doing. So it's a longer game, it's complicated, but you got to be able to sit down and really put some time into it to be able to finish it through. A game that I haven't finished yet, I've gotten about, I don't know, I think maybe 20% through at this point in time, but looking forward to picking that one back up as well. Also, Final Fantasy Tactics, as I said, is another one I've got in the collection. Love this game. This is my favorite, one of my favorite Final Fantasies for the PlayStation 1. I know people are going to say, oh my god, what about 9? Yes, 9's my favorite as well, too. But for tactical versions, this is my favorite tactical version out of the tactical games for the PlayStation 1 RPGs. Great game. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played it, what the hell are you doing? Go play that game. It's one of the best out there. Alright, next up again is Legend of Mana. This was recently remastered on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which probably has a better version, so if you really wanted to play this game, probably check it out there. A little bit easier to play on more modern consoles. But I did have this one back in the day. I got it at retail. I plugged it in and played it for about 15 minutes and was just royally confused on what the heck to do with, like, where am I going? Why am I raising these plants and getting these seeds? I should spend more time into it. I did buy it on the PlayStation 4, so I will be giving the remaster a chance. But, you know, that's some of you just gotta collect them to have them, and I'll get to it eventually and just push through the boredom of the initial starts of the game, I think. It's just a different game style, right? And then beyond that, I've got Dragon Warrior 7. Dragon Warrior 7 is, another big hitter for the Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior series. One of the time when they really were starting to put extra scenes in there and cut scenes. The graphics were a big step up from the other versions before they were remastered, and it's a very long game actually to be able to play. I played about 40% through on it, maybe 50%. In my opinion, those are the kind of games I like to have a manual with, or like a cheat book or a hint guide with, because it's fun to be able to collect all the different things. And if you don't know where they are, you kind of miss the whole the advantages of picking all those items out. Game is I think I bought it at retail. It's gone up in price quite a little bit as well. Most of these games have, obviously, in the last year and 2 years. So if you haven't had a chance to pick up that copy for the Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior series, you want to make sure you do that. Alright, next up, Beyond the Beyond. This is a game I actually haven't played. I picked it up, I think at a garage sale like years ago, like 10 years or more ago, for maybe like $5, if I remember, maybe 10 at most. It's one of those RPGs that you just gotta have. It does look interesting. The graphics look very JRPG-ish, if I remember right. And it, if you played the game and you know anything about it, post in the comments below and let me know what you think of it. Alright, and up next is Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross, of course, is kind of a part 2 to Chrono Trigger, if you will, for the PlayStation version. Again, I played this one kind of like Legends of Mana. I played it for like an hour and was royally confused and didn't like the graphics on it and didn't really understand what the game was all about. Back in those days, I think when I was a kid, I just got bored of games really fast. So don't let that hamper what the enjoyment of the game. I know it's one that I've got to play, and it's on my list to do so. Did you have a problem with Chrono Cross? Did it confuse you as well? Again, let me know in the comments on any of these games that I'm talking about. Alrighty, another new addition to the collection as well, Xenogears. I did manage to pick this one up in a flea market down in San Diego when I was visiting down there. Got a pretty good deal on it. Didn't have a manual, which I didn't realize at the time, but what do you need a manual for, right? So it is a game that looks very interesting. The gameplay on it looks very fun, the battle mechanics, etc. But I haven't played it yet, so it's on my list of to-dos. Again, that's a game that's gone up in price over the years. I say I picked it up for about $100. Alright, another one that's in a series of 5, and plus a tactical version is Wild Arms. This is Wild Arms 1. Never really played this game before as well. It's been one on the list that I wanted to. I picked it up fairly recently for, I think, around $40, $30-$40, something like that, at a game store in Portland, Oregon. So that's another one. I'm going to go try and true and get all the other Wild Arms and Wild Arms 2 for the PS1 as well that I've got to get, so that is on the list. Some of the original RPGs besides Final Fantasy that I really got into when they were out was the Breath of Fire series. I really liked Breath of Fire 3. I played Breath of Fire 1 and 2 on the Super NES back in the day, and of course Breath of Fire 4. Breath of Fire 3 was kind of that first time I'd really gotten into a JRPG game. Just the cutesy kind of graphics with it, and cutscenes where each character is talking. It just really drove me in, and I really liked the game. I liked the battle mechanics to it, and I ended up almost beating it. I got almost near the end, and then, I don't know, some other game came out and distracted me at the time. But it's one of my more favorites out of the series. So if you haven't got a chance to play Breath of Fire 3, do check it out if you're a fan of JRPGs. Moving on to the Breath of Fire 4, completely different game style mechanics. They did a real big shift between 3 and 4 with regards to a lot of the mechanics of the game, combat, and some of the other parts. Like I recall there's some vehicle system in the game as well. I've not played it. I've just seen reviews of it. Again, it's one of the ones that are on the list to play, but I want to go back and try to beat 3 before I even start 4. Have you played it yet, and what do you think of Breath of Fire 4? Let me know in the comments. Okay, next up then is Ark the Lad Collection. This is a box set that has Ark the Lad series in it. This is a game I haven't played as well. It's one of the ones that were more expensive to acquire, especially trying to find one complete. This is definitely one that they're always missing parts, it seems. So it's nice to be able to have this one in the collection. I was really excited to get it. Again, haven't played it, don't know much about it. If you have any experience in it and point me in the right direction, let me know. Staying with the box sets, we've got Lunar Silver Story, I think it is, right? Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2, The Eternal Blue Complete. Can never get those names straight. Both of those are box sets as well. Usually were really expensive back in the day. I think I picked up one of them for about $75 and another one for about $100, I think it was. They've gone up in value since then, thank goodness. But and these ones I made sure were ultra complete. Like all of the pieces are in there. One of them's got like a little jewel in it or something like that. So all the pieces are there, which is great to be able to get that. The box is in good condition for one of them. The other one's a little rough around the edges, but not too bad. Looks great to play. I've been wanting to play these series. They've also extended on other systems like Sega CD. So it's on the list. I'll get to it eventually. I'm going to be 90 years old still playing these games. I've been building myself an immortal backlog of games to be able to play. So we'll get to it. Next one is Warhammer Shadow of the Horned Rat. This is a game I picked up when I was down in Vegas, I think it was. It's a fairly cheap game, not real expensive. It is Warhammer, so it's kind of fantasy-based, tactical-based. Again, I've never played this game. I've only paid about $10 for it. It seemed pretty reasonable at the time to be able to add to the collection. But don't know much about it. It's a Warhammer game. So if you have any experience in that, let me know. Alright, now into the Final Fantasies. Big Final Fantasy fan, as many of you know. Starting at 7, 8, 9, Tactics, the Anthologies, the Chronicles. I don't even remember all of these games. The Anthologies, the Chronicles, which Chronicles also has Chrono Trigger in it, which is pretty cool. Tactics, I said, yes. The Origins, which has Final Fantasy 1 and 2. These are great games. Anybody that's played them will agree. Some of the best Final Fantasies came out of the series. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them because I think most everybody knows these games. But I would say Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite Final Fantasies by far. I did play that one all the way through and did beat that one when it first came out. One of the earliest RPGs for the PlayStation 1 that I actually beat all the way through. 8, didn't really like that one as much. I still don't like that one. I can't get into that one. I know other people love that game a lot. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. So the Origins one is actually really cool, being able to play 1 and 2. I don't like the remastered graphics on those. I like to play the original versions on the Nintendo, especially with regards to like 2, which is actually what 5 for, or is it 4 for America, and then 6 is actually 3. You know what I mean? Those ones are actually, I prefer to play on the original systems. I don't like the updated graphics on those. Final Fantasy Anthology, on the other hand, again, it has these games that were never brought to America. They were only in Japan at the time. You can play those old school sprites with the different job classes. Great games. Final Fantasy V, oh man, the job system in that was just top notch. Really, if you haven't played that game yet, you're missing out. And I do have a remastered version of it, so if you like to play those, you can. Again, I'm going to play the older versions. And as I said, the Final Fantasy Chronicles has the Chrono Trigger on it as well, so if you haven't got a chance to play that, there's lots of ways to play Chrono Trigger across the DS system, the PC, the Switch, but if you want to play it on the PlayStation 1, that's the only way you can be able to get a chance to play it. Alrighty, and then getting the last two here, we've got Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is not really an RPG, but kind of an RPG. Action type RPG, I guess you could say. When I first played this game, I was blown away by it. I had no idea it was going to be that good. I remember playing it at a store that I was running back in the day in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I was the Magic store owner for Magic cards, and we had consoles there that people could just come in and play whatever they wanted to do. And this was one that I plugged in and was basically, when it was slow, I was on that thing all the time. The customer would come in, I had to pause, I'd go help them, come back, play some more. So it was a lot of fun. I did go through and beat it all the way. This is another game you can get downloaded on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. If you haven't played this game yet, please do. It is just amazing. It set the stage for so many other Metroidvania type games out there. And also Bloodborne, which came out for PlayStation 4 a couple years ago, and I think it is a successor to this. And lastly, we've got Siphon Filter 2. This is just one I had from back in the day. I like the Metal Gear Solids and the Siphon Filter type of games. I wasn't big into those shooter kind of sneak around games, but this one in particular stuck with me. I do want to try to get the Metal Gear ones as well. They're not super expensive, and neither is this game. But it's just one that I happen to just have laying around, so thought I'd include it. Okay, there you have it. That's my full PS1 collection that I have. Mostly RPGs again, as I said. Let me know if there's any of the games in this in my collection that you'd like to see more of. Like maybe you wanted me to do a review of one of them, or do a playthrough video of some of them. Post in the comments below, and I'll consider it, and I'll put it in my to-do list for you guys. And until then, see you guys next time.